Welcome to episode 4 of the Dog and Doc Show. I'm Doc Insane.
And I'm Doghouse.
And on this episode we have music from Millie Manders and the Shut Up.
Well, first, Doc, we're going to show a short video which highlights the many benefits of hemp.
We live in a world of poverty, hunger and homelessness, created and perpetuated by those who suppress a higher quality of life offered to us by Mother Nature. The greater population is enslaved by the psychotic few who continue to steal vast tracts of land and resources, trying to convince the world thereafter that the planet is overpopulated. As slaves to the oligarchy, treated as cattle, almost everything we do or possess has to be registered and monitored by the controlling state. Rights continually being taken away, often following an orchestrated event, and those rights sold back to us in the form of permits and licenses. And yet, within the illusional fabrication of this false society, the greater populace believe they are free. Programmed and dumbed down by the official educational system and mainstream media, the systematic mind control is further cemented by the endorsement of our family, friends, and almost everyone we meet, in the falsified belief that nothing could replace governments, taxes or walls, that they are necessary, and as dumb as sheep believing that only within the structure of that system can positive change take place. Fear seeks security and ignorance becomes bliss. Whilst the earth is being depleted of its natural resources by powerful and ruthless corporations, a genocide of the earth is taking place, as openly stated in documents such as the United Nations Agenda 21, and most clearly stated on the Georgia Stones in America, that tell us that the oligarchy believe that 7 billion people need to be murdered for a novus ordo seclorum, as it clearly states on the dollar bill, which means New World Order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be.
In serving the sinister agendas, we see synthetic chemicals being used in place of the many cures offered by nature, as of course there are far more profits to be made from a patented product than a natural product that cannot be owned outright and therefore cannot be patented for mass profits. Men and women are starving and freezing to death on the streets because our God-given natural inalienable rights have been stripped away from us and replaced with benefits and privileges that can be taken away if we are bad serfs. People are forced to work long hours, if they can get a job, just to pay the big corporations their extortionate rates and fees for electricity, gas and water that is unfit for purpose. Meanwhile, the government tell us that we need to recycle to save the planet, watch our carbon footprint, as they continue to profit from mass forest clearings for building materials, paper and the unnecessary palm oil, as well as nuclear testing, the continuation of the petroleum industry and the many unhealthy and often carcinogenic produce such as non-biodegradable plastics therefrom. A cheaper resource and answer to our Earth's problems comes in the planet's oldest known cultivated plant, hemp. A plant that can grow far quicker than the trees being cut down for use today, with crops being ready for cultivation only 120 days after planting, and therefore cheaper, albeit free to the individual that learns their craft in producing building materials, strong plastic alternatives, paper, fabrics and textiles, food, pet food, bedding, livestock bedding and feed, ropes, sails and cords, oil-based products, essential oils, baby oil, lotions and other care products, biodiesel, paint, varnish, ink, soap, shampoo, bath gels, cosmetics, dairy products and even beer. Plus, hemp seeds contain a protein that is more nutritious and more economical to produce than soybean protein, and apparently contain all of the essential fatty acids and amino acids required for the human body. Furthermore, according to numerous medical accounts, the plant can be used medicinally for many illnesses, diseases and ailments including glaucoma, MS, cerebral palsy, spinal injury, Alzheimer's, HIV, asthma, diabetes, hepatitis C, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, cancer, sleep apnea, Tourette's syndrome, as well as slowing down tumour growth, relieving symptoms of chronic disease and giving pain relief. Hemp has been used for thousands of years and is believed to be the oldest cultivated plant on the earth, and in the 19th century was even made mandatory that all farmers had to grow this plant in America. Indeed, during the Second World War, though hemp was made illegal in both Britain in 1928 and 9 years later in America, the US Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 was lifted briefly during the Second World War when farmers were encouraged to grow the plant to create ropes for the US Navy. Following the war, the ban was of course reimposed. Hemp, because of its versatility and vast uses, is a major threat to the plans of the ruling elites and their intended new order of the world, as they strive for an easier to control populace of a mere 500 million people to be left to serve them on the planet. And yet this plant, in this age of enlightenment, still presents a massive threat against the illusion presented that the Earth's resources are being depleted because the planet is overpopulated.
The growing human population, because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
We have a plant, a gift from nature, that can stop deforestation, end the need for petroleum, and end the need for most, if not all, synthetic produce and pharmaceuticals. A plant that can literally feed, clothe and provide shelter for the world whilst protecting and serving its ecosystem. The problem for the controlling 1% of the planet therefore becomes quite easy to see, as their many patents would quickly become worthless, and so our God-given natural inalienable rights are denied us yet again, as the plant is being re-engineered by Agent Orange creators Monsanto, leaders in the deadly science of genetically modified crops, and of course your God-given natural inalienable rights to grow a plant is taken away from you, the perceived serf, and sold back in the form of licenses, thus giving the planet's ruling elite full control of the source, the market and the produce.
We don't go to God's house anymore. Saw the light and walked right out the door. We don't go to God's house, it's more fun in the doghouse. We don't go to God's house anymore.
Everything will be alright.
Roll up. Last chance to see the amazing spectacle of all things engrossed in the melodic discord of the embryonic cortex balloon. Roll up. All happening in a town near you. All you gotta do is keep your ears to the ground and your eyes
this to the stars. Have your bum on your seat and don't move an inch, 'cause it's coming to you. Don't have to do a thing. Come to you, you lazy bastards. It's coming to you. Just sit there and wait for it. Nothing else to do. Just sit and wait for it. Come in, come in. Roll up, roll up, roll up. Roll up on a settee near you. Nothing happening here. Nothing happening here. Nothing to see. Move along. Move along.
I pity you, baby, you and your little big mouth. I pity you, baby, you and your little big mouth. Standing there in front of the mirror, putting on your layers 3. You take off to put your makeup on and to hide your insecurity. Well, I pity you, baby, you and your little big mouth. I pity you, baby, you and your little big mouth.
Hello, and I'm with Millie Manders.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Right, well, obviously the first question, how did you get started in the music business?
Oh, I've always been in music. I started playing instruments and stuff when I was about 5 years old. So it's always been a passion of mine. And I guess just through doing school bands and stuff, you just carry on and you just build what you know. These days I now have a degree in music management. So I use that to create a business around my music in order to be a DIY band.
Very clever.
But yeah, I've been doing music basically my whole life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Where's the inspiration comes for the lyrics?
All over the place really. I've been getting a lot more social conscious, shall we say, lately. But a lot of it comes from anger, actually, anger and pain, because I use my music a lot for therapy. So whether that's pain from a past relationship or because someone has decided to use anger against me, or because I'm angry about a situation that's going on in the world at the moment, a lot of the time I focus that energy into my music to create something instead of using it as a negative force.
See, that is a very positive thing. You know, I mean, this is what art is. Art is an expression. It should be used to expel negative feelings that are going to eat away at you, cause more problems. Because obviously when you're stressed and when you're in that place, it's not, I mean, let's take hate, let's take any kind of anger towards someone. That manifestation doesn't affect the person who you want it to affect. It affects people you love, the people you want to be with. So it's good to get it out artistically, creatively, and then you're helping other people.
Yeah, well, often it hurts yourself, doesn't it, if you allow it to manifest, especially if you're like me, who I'm not very good at necessarily expressing it in the right way towards those people in order to, again, positively express my problem with whatever's happened. So for me, to be able to use my music as therapy, it's positive for me, as well as hopefully giving a message to other people.
You have a great voice.
Thank you.
You know, we first saw you opening for the Cracked Actors.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, we were blown away with your presence as well as the sound of the songs and your voice and everything. And your group, The Shut Up, who are brilliant as well. I mean, you all complement each other. Did The Shut Up get formed with you, or were they already there and you got together?
Well, my bassist, I've actually been working with him for, I believe now, 12 years. Met him in 2005 with a previous project that I was doing. And then I didn't work with him for about 6 years. I went as a solo artist in around 2012, and I formed this band, bringing my bassist back in late 2014, early 2015. So this unit has only been working together for 2 years.
We used to say
probably a personal question. How many favourite teddies did you have as a child?
I'm squeezing so hard, there's no pretending. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy. I'm so possessive, you're going crazy. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy. You're so pretty, I'm going crazy. You're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, I'm going crazy. I'm squeezing so hard, there's no pretending. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy. I'm so possessive, you're going crazy. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy. I'm squeezing so hard, there's no pretending. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy. I'm squeezing so hard, there's no pretending. I pop the stuffing on my favourite teddy.
Actually, I did have quite a lot of soft toys as a kid. I very much believed that they came to life at night, and for me, they all had their own personalities and stuff. I was very much a play child, a lot of imagination and stuff. Teddy the song though, I used the imagery of a soft toy because I think for me, I became a bit of a psycho in a relationship, not because I'm that way inclined, but because there were certain things going on from the other side that made me feel very paranoid, very manipulated and stuff like that. And so the part of me that really wanted them to love me the way they should have been loving me made me cling on harder.
Yeah.
And obviously the song goes out to people that really are quite possessive and manipulative and a little bit crazy, but the imagery of the teddy is that you can love something so much that it becomes more possessive.
Yeah. And
you can squeeze that thing to death, including a relationship. And if you don't allow the person to be who they need to be and breathe as an individual as well as part of your relationship, you're going to kill it. And that's why I use the imagery of a teddy, because it's literally like popping the stuff in. So.
Yeah, it's a brilliant song, and I like the honesty of it. You know, the self. Analysis, that honesty. I mean, this is the thing. People don't own people. Yeah. I always say that people don't own people, and when people get like that, they're dishonest to themselves as well as the person they say they love. I love you, so I'm going to destroy your life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not love. You know.
I didn't do that, by the way. I wasn't destroying anyone.
This next song is called Thoroughbred Potato Head.
But what's a potato head?
Thoroughbred Potato Head. So that I actually wrote years ago. It was probably 2011 I wrote that. It was around the time that the Shoreditch hipster thing started happening, and they were wearing like Game Boys around the necks and like really comedy sized bow ties and like plastic glasses with no lenses in, and I found it all a bit bizarre. To say the least, and so this song just started popping in my head like when I was getting ready for work, and that's really where it came from. But the name Thoroughbred Potato Head, and people may find me I don't know what this could cause a little bit of backlash and hate here, but essentially one of my good friends that was a supervisor on my shop floor when I was working in retail was an Irish guy, And I got on really, really well with him, but this one morning he was just being a total donut. It was just like his brain had flown out of the window and gone bye-bye for the day. And so I was just like, oh my God, you're being such a thoroughbred potato head! And I actually told that story on stage once, and there was this bunch of Irish guys sitting across the way, and they really thought I was being derogatory towards Irish people, and I'm standing on stage, I'm really sorry, it really wasn't. He really was a good friend of mine. But that's the two sides to that story. It was a hipster thing, and I was being a little bit rude about some of the fashion that was going on, but also my friend and colleague had...
it's my favourite song. I love that
cool.
one.
Okay. Actually, we've had a few people say that it's their favourite, and we've got Mr. Potato Head, who's our mascot, who one of our fans actually presented to us at a gig, which was lovely.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thoroughbred potato head. His haircut's long and full of layers, but it doesn't do him any favours. He's a thoroughbred potato head. He thinks he's cool, but everyone can see. There's so much effort to get him to the scene. He's insecure and inside he's just a boy. Too hot cause he's never had no choice. Second verse, join in. When he makes a joke, he laughs a lot, but he shoots through his devotes, he's a thoroughbred. He tried to golf, he tried to punk, when he didn't get a goal, he tried to funk, he's a thoroughbred. La, 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 la. Last verse coming up. He walks like cool with a little pet. He wears his leather around his neck. He's a thoroughbred. Goes to the strip, he's selling horses. He's drinking on with no remorse. He's a thoroughbred. He's cool man, everyone can see. There's so much effort to get into the scene. Inside he's just a boy. He's much too hot cause he's never had no choice.
How do you feel about the music industry today, mainstream?
Okay, I would say that the pop industry is always going to have a place. It has done since the 70s, when earlier 20s, Pop Factory is always going to be there. I think you're always going to have a contingency of people that are going to want to listen to something and reflect it. I don't really like the pop industry. I don't like the over-sexualisation of girls or boys. I don't like some of the messages that are thrown out there through the pop industry, bullying, sexism, all of that sort of stuff that is highly reflected in a lot of the lyricism.
Yeah, homophobia.
Absolutely, there's a huge amount of negative messages that go out to young people through the pop industry that I don't agree with. But it's such a big industry, we're never going to be able to get around that. But because there's always a contingency of people that see something, hear something and reflect it, there's always a place for our kind of music, alternative kinds of music that are thrown out a positive message, that are thrown out a different type of view, an image for young people to come across, grab hold of and move with.
Yeah, we have a very good music scene.
Yeah.
You know, it's very impressive, and any of you that haven't got out there and heard any of it yet, get out there. It's great stuff. You're going to love it, you know. I'm just doing that. It's no symbolism. last question. What material have you got and what's coming up with Millie Manders?
Okay, so we've got 2 EPs at the moment. The free P you can download for free from SoundCloud or Bandcamp. We've also got Obsession Transgression. Again, you can download that. We have just re-recorded Obsession Transgression though, because we did feel that we needed to catch up to our live sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's become a little bit more growly and a little bit more aggressive. So we're excited about that. And I've got a new EP that is very close to being developed enough to get into the studio. So we should have that out relatively soon.
Brilliant.
Which I'm excited about.
Well, we had to stop the camera a moment back because the shut up was shouting up for us to shut up and let Millie go and do a sound check.
Yeah.
So we're going to let Millie go and do a sound check and we're going to enjoy the show tonight. Thank you, Millie Manders.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
To its heel. Sure is a hoot when they prosecute you for doing what you feel. Bring down the government, bring it to its knees. If you want your rights, you're gonna have to fight. So bring down the government, please.
Hello, and welcome to the news at 3:47. Actually, there's not much to report. The world is doing really well. Globalism is on a fast-paced rise. Our stocks are doing very well.
Indeed. The rich are getting richer. Now, some of you, unfortunately, are complaining. Now, in the goodness of our hearts, we've decided to show you very practically how to survive on a low income.
So, Reginald and I will show you just how easy it is to feed yourself on a low budget.
Yes.
All one needs is some penne pasta.
I have some here. Now this we obtained from our local food bank.
Then you want some baked beans.
Also, I might add, obtained from the local food bank.
Not many, you don't want to be gluttonous.
Now,
1 or 2.
all we do here now is carefully insert the baked bean into the penny pasta, gently, gently like so. There we go, not too difficult. Place that on the plate just so.
And placement is very important.
Oh, yes.
You don't want to just chuck it on the plate.
Oh, no. Presentation is everything, I find.
And then you wish to garnish your meal with a working class garnish such as tomato ketchup. Very popular with the peasants. I've not tried it myself, of course.
Now, doesn't that look absolutely marvellous?
For you people, that is perfect. Put it aside for 20 minutes and it will be ready to eat.
Lovely.
Now for dessert, I like to have a mango cardamom syllabub. Oh, very lovely. But of course you can't afford that. So, what you want to do is get an apple, cut it in half, and you and your partner can eat a lovely dessert. So easy.
So easy. I thoroughly enjoyed that, Ronald. That was absolutely delicious.
Yes, I don't really see what the poor people complain about. Which brings us to another issue always being brought up. Homelessness.
Now, with that in mind, we thought we'd experience it for ourselves.
Yes.
So, in this next video, you'll see myself and Ronald out on the streets of Bristol experiencing homelessness.
You know what, dear fellow? This really isn't all that bad.
Not at all. I could actually get used to this.
Oh, quite so, quite so. Chin chin.
Yes.
Oh, ding dong.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's all from the news at 3:47.
Good night, slaves.
In this part of the video, we look at posts that have interested us on social media, and I'd like to start with this post introducing the Georgia Stones. The New World Order, the biggest and most dangerous terrorist group in the world, want to kill 7.3 billion people. They have stated their intentions very clearly, carved in stone in 12 different languages.
And here's a quote from George Orwell. The war is not meant to be won, it is meant to be continuous. Hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance. The war is waged by the ruling group against its own subjects, and its object is not the victory over either Eurasia or Eastasia, but to keep the very structure of society intact.
Which also brings us to this post that defines who we really are. Sovereign, from the Latin adverb super, above, and the Latin noun regnum, rulership, control. One who is above the rulership or control of another. One who is not a subject or a slave to another.
And here's a quote from Old Mother Rothschild. If my sons did not want war, there would be none.
For those of you who have not looked into the Rothschilds and their role in your misery, I suggest you do so. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty.
And we're going to finish on this one, Doc. Pretty straightforward. Anarchy. The crazy notion that you don't own other people. Crazy, right?